Hey, hi, Linda.
Hey,
Hi,
hey,
everybody. Wow, look at me. I got a real backdrop. How about that?
Steve.
Um, I'm today. I'm in New York, and actually, I'm still no closer to you than any other time. But anyway, here we are. Saturday night. Depending on what time zone you're in, it's 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, or 6 o'clock. And we got a heck of a show, but and everybody read about is same-sex aggression real? Is Littermate Syndrome? Have you ever looked that up on Google? Um, and we got Roman here. He's gonna lend a hand with that. And we've actually got some very, very good. We got some interesting stuff on both sides. Right? And so, are we going to tell you if it's real or not? Well, we're going to give you what we know, and you get to decide for yourself.
Yes.
How about that? Ain't that something? So, hi Nancy, how you doing? Nancy's in Colorado, and we've got. Well, we don't have Mr. Tibbs here, so that's okay. Our backdrop is dogs today, so we kind of decided to get a little more realistic. But and with every dog has to be a human. So, all right. Don't you have some good news in the rescue from earlier this week?
We do.
Yeah.
We have had a really super busy week. We have adopted out 8 of our babies. So happy.
And that was like over a day, wasn't it? A day and a half?
It was over, a little longer than a day, but because it takes a while to interview people and all that, Steve, but it happened rather quickly. Some are previous adopters and others are not, but they are now welcome to our family. But yeah, we're super excited. We've done really well. We also have a lot of dogs coming in to rescue. There seems to be an overwhelming amount of owner surrenders. Not just for me, for everyone.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's nonstop. You adopt out 8, you bring 8 more in.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And, or 10.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you bring in more than you got room for because you just have to do what you have to do.
Yes.
And but when a rescue brings in more than they have room for, that's not good.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we fix that? We need fosters.
Yes. So, I'll never take in dogs that I can't vet or place safely.
Right.
So, unfortunately, we're not small, but we don't have 100 fosters.
No.
We don't have $200,000-$300,000 in the bank. We can't do all that. We can only do what we can do. So
that's right. And we save as many as we can, and we just go back and save more. So
yes.
And I tried my best. The dogs that are being surrendered is, well, I try to keep them in their homes if they're trying to surrender over behavior. And Roman does that. He helps me out, helps rescues out too a lot too sometimes.
Getting a lot of training calls lately.
A lot, yes. And that's where I'm at now. I'm keeping dogs in their homes.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
How am I doing?
You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Look at that beautiful baby.
Yeah, Roman, sorry. Sometimes I just have to make an appearance. I couldn't figure out 2 parts. So, but I did. And the dogs are staying in their home. So, anyway, so wow, yeah, it's been amazing. What else is? I think that's amazing. We got that many dogs adopted out. So anyway, all right. Well, it's time to bring Roman up too, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, he's been down there waiting patiently.
Yes.
And now his backdrop is
my favorite subject.
So, matter of fact, the dogs I'm working with aren't even in the background. I brought Sasha with me. And, yeah, Tibbs is out there. He's asleep. And the Newfie over there, he's Remy, he's sound asleep because it's past their bedtime.
Before we get into the topic, Roman, I have a question for you. We have a dog that came in. He was a stray. We don't know really much about his background. And it took him 3 days for the foster to get him inside the house. Now it's taking, hold on. Did you guys lose me?
No.
So now it's taking 3 days to get him outside of the house. Any suggestions?
Okay. You feel safe.
Yeah, he does.
I need to understand what it means. It takes him 3 days to get him out of the house. It takes him 3 days to get him in.
Well, when he was brought there, he was in the garage, and it took them 3 days to coax him to come inside the house, the foster house.
Okay.
Now, once he's inside, he doesn't want to go outside.
Well, give me $1 million, I would spend it. Take it away, I would be angry.
Mm-hmm.
So
Does he go to the bathroom in the house?
Right.
Yes.
Okay, see, there's the problem.
So I think the dog has problems transitioning. It's a breed trait, having hard time transitioning, meaning is from one situation to another.
Mm-hmm.
I feel he hesitates to change from one room to another because he doesn't know what's going to happen. It's a trauma response. So
Okay.
do I go in? How do I get out? Now that I'm in, I don't want to get out because they're going to move me again out. Because outside, I think he's looking for social interactions, but he doesn't know how to do that.
Right.
So the dog seems to be totally unsocialized and uneducated. So we literally have to start from scratch.
Okay.
Like teaching him basics that nobody basically taught him, like feeling safe, following cues, because his mind is in a go back and forth, like in the pendulum.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody needs to help him to, hey, let's go. It's not coaxing, it's not luring, it's helping him make a decision.
Okay.
Makes sense? It's a slippery slope because we may think we do it right, but actually we'll make things worse because we're trying. I want you to come. Well, that's already predatory. And the dog's like, no, I don't know what you're up to. Because dogs don't have a logic like we have.
Right. Makes sense.
Yeah. No. Plus, he had a pretty traumatic life before he came in rescue.
That confirms it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that does. Yeah. That's. Well, if I had his life, when I found a house I felt safe in, I wouldn't go out either. So, but he has to.
Well, we see this
because it's not healthy for him.
We see this with inmates. They're very long in prison system. They don't want to get out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And when they're out, they don't want to go in.
There's a term I've heard for that. I can't remember what it is.
I think with that, I think it's the structures that is what they need.
Yeah.
Inmates need that structure.
They need an emotional bond first because that's the base of it.
Mm-hmm.
If the bond is not there, why would the dog do what other people want to do?
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So emotion is a great motivator. Bring the dog to a motivation, even if that's another dog.
Okay.
So, when I was prepping for the show, I Googled Littermate Syndrome.
What did you find?
Nothing. There's no term that is set by any studies or anything like that. Okay.
There's one
same-sex aggression, on the other hand, that is a hot topic.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I did the research because people said, well, there are so many studies done on siblings aggression and veterinarians refer to that. And I was like, you know what? I want to find that. And I try really hard to find it using even German terms, looking in German libraries, but nothing is out there. There's one book in particular, somebody who writes about Labradors and breeding, who references that particular and explains it in a book. And that's the first one who actually started talking about it in a book. So I messaged them and says, hey, where did you get this siblings aggression from? Because I don't see any reference. Well, I'm a long-time breeder and I've seen it happen. but that's not the reality, because there is no philosophical, psychological, or training term, because we need to understand what the syndrome means. Can somebody Google the term syndrome and read it out loud? And if that would be a syndrome in reality, then humans would have sibling syndromes, right? And I haven't seen that term either. So
No.
I understand what people say, because they don't have a better explanation what that is, and though they just use that term by pushing it in a corner. Hey, I don't know, it's sibling syndrome. That's it, right?
Right. Yeah.
The reality is that disputes are very common to people and dogs. Now, let me start from the other direction. Why do dogs have disputes that are from the same age and from the same litter? It's because they were born basically the same time and going through the same development stages. And as they go through the development stages, at some point they're coming to a maturity. And when they get mature and when things come in to interact with each other in social settings, they have to learn how to troubleshoot, right? And so the only one who can help them troubleshoot emotional conflicts is their mother and their parents and their family system, which is the alpha breeding pair, mom and dad, and the offspring. How many generations? Usually 2 generations are in the same family at the same time. Now, if there is no moral and ethical education, and we let the dogs do their dog thing, then of course those troubleshooting skills are not there. There is no moral and ethical regulation, and a simple disagreement will end up in a bloody fight. So instead of calling it siblings aggression, we call it siblings uneducation, because that's what it is. If dogs are uneducated, not able to troubleshoot simple social disputes, then they will get in fights. But that happens with people too. People who get married struggling and fighting with each other because they don't have an off button. It's only
where did
on,
the term
right?
come from then? Because I had never really heard of it, because it's not a thing.
Right? Then the
In
other
my
thing that
opinion.
happens is when dogs go through the same maturity, in free environment, the dogs can take their own path. You don't like it here, then move on, build your own family. But in the household where dogs are contained in this square environment, they don't have a way out. So they are forced into a relationship they eventually don't like. And they cannot go out. So that compensates. And in nature, the dog will go away for a month and then come back again. Everything is in order. But now he's stuck in that family system and he's not being able to go out. And so that escalates and there is no relief valve. And then it's going to end up fights.
Yep.
But that
That's
is
right.
not because they're siblings, just because they're contained in a small environment, just like you and me and everybody else being contained in an elevator, not having a cell phone and being there for a month. Right? That would be a misery. If they're not even going on Facebook, it would be a disaster, right? Like day 2.
So
Now-
how did this, how does this term even come about to where I had to Google it? How do I know that? Who created it? Who invented that term and why? I think I have an idea. My opinion, they didn't know what to do about it, so they labeled it. Is that possible? But when you Google it, there's no response. So
No, there's nothing. There's no scientific reference to anyone. You will find only one book. But you don't Google it. You go to a search engine who actually goes and searches for studies.
And you've got, yes, absolutely. And one of my engines is, UC Davis is one of them. Okay. You've got a few overseas even that, and along with that I use also, because one study, that's just the beginning. Okay. So, so you look for studies that have different perspectives.
Yeah. And, when we're looking for this kind of words and terms, we always look for a specific answer based on a specific question. But, a study is not just done to answer a question, it's to understand a concept. So we need to see different studies that come to this conclusion of one result because they're coming all together. A, how do dogs evolve? B, how dogs working in social settings? And then, what's that, buddy? And then how do dogs social interact with each other? How do dogs socially interact in homes away from their natural environment?
Right.
And so imagine that the study is just a little screenshot of maybe 1,000, 3,000 dogs, a very small number of dogs being evaluated, but not in person. You cannot study 3,000 dogs. You have to ask people to help you. So you send up questionnaires, and those people have to answer those questions correctly. And then you then have to capture this information, make a science out of it. Well, because everybody will explain it different, what everybody sees as an aggression is not always the same term.
Yeah. Now, when I look up just Google, like what anybody else would, when I Google same-sex aggression, that's a different story. Why is that?
That's different. And I would say same-sex disputes, because the term aggression is an emotional state.
That's right. That's right. See, the problem of it is the term itself doesn't make sense. Okay. What kind of? To people. Now, here's my question is, what's the sex have to do with it? I've always found triggers. Mm-hmm. And I haven't yet found a dog that came up and said, you're another boy and I don't like you because of that. I haven't run across that yet. I'm not saying it's not there. Mm-hmm. I haven't run across that.
I've come across that 60% of fights inside homes are started by female dogs.
Yeah.
Right. Well, female. Yeah, but has there been a trigger other than they're the same sex? What started it from when it happened?
Well,
they're not doing it for no reason.
Number one, medical subconditions and hormones, but not the hormones that we just snip away. It's the hormone imbalance that causes the problem. Usually it's underlying medical conditions. Leaky guts and stress can cause aggression between females, very simple, just because they just don't tolerate in that level of stress.
Right.
And because that stress level is high, females, when they become defensive, they have to protect the litter. So they will go to the extent, and males know that. So if we have a female and a male that go into fight, the male needs to protect himself because he knows the female will not back away because of the genetics. And females are strong because they have to defend the family. And the male needs to reproduce. Right. He's not stupid to get killed. He's got to walk away.
And they never forget either.
No, right? And so
just ask my wife.
When females get into a fight, it is intense because they cannot back away, because they don't have morals and ethics in place, because they have not been educated to that.
Right.
And that's the problem most people see. They adopt a dog, they have no clue what's happening.
Well, if you got two peers, for example, that are the same sex and they're fighting all the time and you're having all these problems, same-sex aggression is very real to them.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter, because it doesn't have to be peers. It can be a newfie. All right. And a peer. It can be any breeds. But
let's give you an example. I'm married, and I would bring another woman in my house. You haven't seen same-sex aggression yet. Is it me or something? Right? So females are more territorial because they need to protect. Mm-hmm. Right? But again, if there are no morals and ethical regulations, then these girls will go to the maximum of their punishment. They need to take care of it.
Right.
But with that said, Roman, with that said, do you think it's best that females not be placed in a home together?
I would put a different question. Are these people educated enough to educate the females that take in the house about their family code of conduct? If the answer is yes, then I don't see a problem having a family that has 13 children being able to have multiple same-sex dogs in the house, because it's a concept, right? Being able to handle multiple people in the same household, put them on the right track, give everybody instructions so they know what to do. Now, if you struggle with one child and you want to adopt two dogs, I don't think it's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
That's my personal opinion. I'm not saying you guys have to follow through with that. But I see people have a misconception because I had a lot of dogs doesn't mean I'm a behaviorist and I'm not being able to troubleshoot situations. Just because you have many girlfriends doesn't make you a gynecologist. From that perspective, I would say, if you want to help two females because they're a bonded pair or they have a codependent relationship, it needs to be kind of like examined, is it a good choice?
Mhm.
Like at least
that's
take one
right,
dog and a
many
second dog
dogs.
foster with option to adopt kind of thing.
Mhm. I agree.
But I would not just place two dogs anyway to a person who does not have long year experience, especially in the Pyrenees. I'm not saying about bulldogs or Labradors. I'm talking about guardian breeds who, for living, they take care of business, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I agree with that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, because how is that different from placing a male with a female? If they're not going to get along, then I mean, we got to work on that. We got to work.
Yeah, because the male is smart enough to back away, the female will not.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a little bit
Well,
of
the female's smart.
self-regulating system in
Smart.
place.
I've never been smart enough to back away. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have I'm going to bring this up here. And we have a screen I'm going to share by a very good author.
Mm-hmm.
Roman's probably heard of him too. And,
I like him very much.
What's that?
I like him. Are you talking about the one I sent you?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because he there's I mean these are actual studies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And boy, I hope this is the right one. Yep, this is it. And I don't have two monitors tonight, everybody, so and I got a little bitty laptop monitor instead of my 27-inch monitors, the life of luxury at the house. But this is it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good. I did the right. Whoops. What the heck did I do with it? How about we bring it back? So, and this is his link to his site here. And Roman, how do you scroll when you don't have a second monitor up?
Oh, I'm gonna pull it up. I'm gonna find it.
Okay, so you see it. Good. I was going to ask you to do that, and everybody, I fell asleep. All right, so I didn't. This is why the show's not as prepared. This is on me, and that will never happen again. Well, I can't say it'll never happen again. That's just like me and my wife will never happen again, and we're not the same sex. Okay, so I'm going to take this one on down, Roman, so you can bring it up. Okay, but same-sex aggression, there's a lot to this. It's not just a term, okay? And because it's such a broad reach, and just still a trigger. I personally, I think it's an incorrect term because sex had nothing to do with the start of it, and it could have. That's my experience. All right. Now, I'll tell you, when you're living it, if you got two females going at it or two males going at it right here, it's real. Okay? it is real. That's why I'm up here. And
I'd
some
rather bring
dogs,
up two males and two females.
I'll tell you what, I've had both. And man, when I got down to it, sex didn't do it. I didn't have to give one of them a sex change operation. I'm sorry. All right. And we're relatively effective at fixing it. Roman's actually better than I am. Well, of course, everybody knows that. But it's triggered. I look for what causes it. And the first thing we clear is medical. Okay. And then we clear the nutrition. All right. And then we go into the cause of the behavior, and we look deep for that. That is, I mean, if you don't take away what's causing the behavior, you're going to do nothing but put a Band-Aid on the behavior, and it's going to always be there. Okay?
Let me share a few things first in the beginning, and people will understand what the concept is here. See the dog in a triangle. On the very top, you have emotions. On the other corner, you have thoughts. And on the other corner, you have behavior. So they work together. So a dog has a thought that causes an emotion will cause the behavior. Can you affect behavior? Not directly. But if you change the thoughts, you're going to change the behavior because you change the emotion. So if I try to affect behavior and I ignore emotion and I punish the thought, then I will not be consistent with the result of the behavior. Make sense?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep, that is. And you're absolutely right. So, you listening? Okay. So now, were you able to bring that up? I want to get that out there to folks on the because we're not saying it's not real, but we're also not. We have good information here. Because with my experiences over the years, I've never, like I said, I never had to do a sex change operation to fix same-sex aggression. All right, because I found triggers. All right, and when you take away the triggers, then you come back and you see what there is left to do now, and usually there's something, because if the behavior has escalated beyond. If you let it go, sometimes I've even run across the dogs thought they were supposed to do this as a routine, fight amongst each other.
I think the problem is that there are triggers. I believe also there are triggers, 1,000%. The problem is that if they're in a home and their owners are not recognizing those triggers,
Mm-hmm.
then you have a fight between, two females or two males. And it's, I mean, especially two females. I mean, it's scary. It could be downright vicious, even deadly,
Oh, yeah. It has
that's the problem. And I think that's where a lot of this comes from.
Yes.
People don't say, oh, there had to have been a trigger. They automatically go, they're two females, two bitches. They're not going to get along. They're just going to fight. That's the problem.
That's a label.
Okay? Yeah, that is a label. And that's the problem because there's a label. Yes.
So is it real? Yeah. Romans just explained it.
Mm-hmm.
But is that the cause of it? Well, not all the time, but maybe sometimes. This article that Roman, did you find it, Roman?
Yeah.
Okay, let's bring it. Whenever you're ready. I'll tell you what, there's been a lot of study done on this. Okay. And,
we need to be careful with those studies because some studies are very limited on how they come up. And I'm not saying studies are not worth it, but studies have to be read correctly and in the context. You cannot just take statistics out of the context and put them together with other context and says, oh, you know what? 50% of dogs require veterinary care for the dogs and 10% for the required medical attention. So basically, of those 50%, the 74% of cases, the younger dog that starts the fight. So we're not taking in young dogs. No, that's not the problem. It's because nobody takes care of the young dog because he hasn't established himself in the family yet. He doesn't have a clue. And then that causes friction because of injustice. So we have to see, especially for guardian breeds, and somebody mentioned before wolf dogs, there is again study done in reality where two wolves are in a kennel together being fed every time a red light goes on. And on the other side, I know maybe you have seen that. And on the other side, there are two dogs. The same thing. The red light goes on, a drawer comes in, a dog gets a food. Now the wolves basically suddenly the light didn't go on, the drawer went out, and one wolf went to pick it up, and then they got in a dog fight because the other wolf told them it's not correct thing to do. So there is a law created, the regularity of that event, while the other dog says, well, no light, I don't care, I'll take it. And there was no harm. So we recognize the dogs have a different social settings in relation to justice than wolves have. And if we take that that idea that dogs have a concept of more complex social interactions with each other. And I bring that to my house, and I have a resident dog, and I bring a young puppy, maybe a female. So I have a female resident dog, and I bring a young female from rescue that has no clue, jumps around, misbehaves. How does it look like to the resident dog that this dog misbehaves towards the guardian? Rightly, right there, the dog will be on the target list, and he has a huge target on his back. And what we do, we excuse it, and we say, it's just a puppy, it's okay, he's gonna grow out of it. Well, Facebook said it, right? While meanwhile, the adult dog says, so nobody takes care of it, nobody teaches that puppy a lesson, she's misbehaving, she's not behaving like the rules, I have to take care of it. Mm-hmm. And then we do what? Then the bad dog attacks the puppy. How dare she? Because it's my puppy, bad dog, and I'm going to punish the dog for doing that. And then all of a sudden, I totally ruin my relationship. Plus, the dog sees that puppy, the existence already is a trigger. Now, how long do you think that's going to last? Until they're going to so much bloody fight. They're going to call Linda. Oh, you're going to take the dog back because you told me she's well trained.
Mm-hmm. And it's not same-sex aggression. It's human.
Right?
It's human error.
Or we surrender the other dog.
Right.
Because we want to keep the puppy, though, right? We're not giving the puppy away. You know what's going to happen? We're going to give the big dog away because she's the bad dog.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we created the bad dog ourselves.
Yeah, and we don't see it.
Yep.
Like there's a denial that we don't see that we created that situation of imbalance. Yep. Because we're not setting it up correctly. We just assume puppies will figure it out. Let the dogs figure it out. No, it's not going like that. You bring a dog in a household, you make sure that the team member that you add to your household is in alignment with how the household is running. And the adult dog should see that you take care of it so he doesn't have to do it. And if we go back into the good old times, let's say like 3,000 years ago, when we start having guardian breeds, like more commonly and spread around, we see that the dogs learned from other dogs' behavior. Mm-hmm. But the adults were there to show how to do that. We just didn't bring a puppy in. The puppy grew up into the situation. And we're missing that part when we just adopt dogs into that family without teaching them what to do and without educating them. So it's literally a problem for education.
And
Steve, maybe we can address some of these questions.
Yeah, let's see what we got here. Yeah, absolutely. I'm just going to start at this. I got a little monitor right now. What's a safe way to separate two fighting dogs? I've tried a couple different ways, and I either get bit or I remove one and the other continues to pursue the attack.
Okay, let me show you
a common question.
A quick one. Maybe you want to start because you deal more with that stuff that I deal, but I have a technique that works for me. How
Sure.
about you start? And I get stuff ready. Wait. Thank you.
Manny's secret stash?
Yeah.
Okay, just checking.
Okay.
Here's how you separate it.
Yep.
Right there.
I see if I can recreate it.
Well, we don't want. Oh, look at there! Look at the man. There's
Live training session.
That's right.
Don't
Here
try
we
this
go.
at home, kind of thing. Okay. So all you need is a leash. Okay. And I'm gonna gauge the dog. Okay. Come here. Good.
Oh.
Good. What you want to do is you're gonna throw. He's such a good boy. He doesn't do anything. So what you want to do while the dog is engaged? Oh, maybe I can get it. Here you go. There you go. There you go. Get it. Get it. There you go. Good. Good. Underneath the belly. Make the loop. Do you see it?
Mm-hmm.
And then you just lift. You see it?
Now, Steve, Roman, how do you do that on two dogs that are killing each other?
You do one dog. You start with one dog, and take it up and get the dog out of there. Open the door, clamp the door, close the door, and that here stays outside of the door. And then you have only one dog to work with.
And there's, because I usually just grab the back legs.
The problem with grabbing the back legs is you're going to get stuck with your back legs and you will not be able to get away from the dog. But having
Well,
the
there's no
leash to the job,
foolproof answer on this, okay? I mean, if you got 225-pound Great Pyrenees fighting, the first thing you're going to do is, do I even want to get in there? Okay.
so if you have that here between the back legs, and I'm gonna tell you where I saw it. I saw it in Russia, where they work with more complicated.
I've
dogs,
seen this.
right?
What
And
if there's no leash available? What if it's a situation where you need to act quickly, where one dog is really hurting another dog?
I would say you have time in these kind of situations because it's as bad as it sounds. You have time because as long nobody pulls anyone, the one dog will avoid getting hurt, and he will let go. He tries not to fight it. If they fight with each other, it looks really bad, but it's not as bad as it could be if I start pulling on one side.
Right.
I have to choose which dog, thank you. You have to understand which dog you have to pull away. Which dog is likely to let go if you tell him to. And
that's quick thinking now. Okay?
Right, you need to think.
Yeah.
So even if we tell you what to do, you will not be able to follow through until you train for it. And I think being proactive is the best solution to solve these kind of problems. What I teach the term off. If you don't teach the term off, even if you get the dogs disconnected, you will not be able to stop it because they're going to go after it. You pull the one dog away, the other dog is going after you or the other dog. You cannot, but off works. Okay, let me show you how that looks like. I'm going to toss this guy here. Did I just remove myself from it? I guess. Yep, I did.
You turn the camera off, Roman.
Hold a second. I cannot touch myself. There you go. Good. So
now we might be able to see.
Now this is his nemesis. Okay, I'm going to toss it in there.
Aha.
Come. Good job. You
Now,
see that?
Yeah, but he's not in survival mode trying to
I'm sorry.
save
he's a trained fight dog.
Oh.
He has
That's
learned
right.
to kill.
That's why you have him.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
So he has been in 3 dog fights in a row. Okay, and the third one was off. Come. Good job. Okay. Now, if I let him go again, of course he will.
Yep.
Okay, but I can fade it out. I can keep myself safe. So
okay, what about the folks that tell you that I tell my dogs to stop? This is.
Yeah.
But the key was you teach them the off word that snaps them back for 2 seconds.
See that? That's a treat. I'll wait for him to go back again and get that toy over there. Go. Over here. Go kill it.
Everybody meet Manny.
And here it comes again. Up. Up. Good. Okay. And it's work. Daily work. Working. So you have tools when you need them. If you know.
What was he like? Why did he come to you? Why did he go to the healing center?
Because he trusts me.
A lot of folks don't know.
He knows nothing is wrong if he comes to me. I will not gonna punish him. It's totally okay to kill that dog, but not now.
No, what was his behavior?
Sorry, what?
What was the behavior that caused it to where they sent him to you?
It was just agitation. He got agitated about it, and then he wants to kill it because in that level of excitement, that's what he's learned to do.
And is that common with teaching fighting dogs?
Yeah. What you do is you agitate him, you hold him back, and then you let him go. Now, these dogs are not human aggressive. People think that fighting dogs are fighting for everything. No, they're totally good with people. Otherwise, they will be disqualified. There's a lot of money at stake. So these dogs are aggressive to dogs. They're friendly to people.
Yeah. And how long have you had him now? I forget when you got him in.
I have him since July 19th.
Okay. So this takes a while.
Oh yeah.
because they do a good job of this.
Yeah. Well, we're talking about PTSD here, and it's not something you can kind of twitch it off.
Right.
And it's not
That's what I
something
mean. They've done a good job of reprogramming, kind of.
because if you would use shock for that behavior, all you're gonna do is suppress it, and it's gonna go up
Right.
in another direction with some other type.
And then he'll be reactive to humans too.
Right.
Yeah.
Back to the comments. Susan said she uses an air horn that would startle long enough to get one dog out of the situation.
Right.
Yes.
That's similar to what Rome was talking about.
A distraction can work. Sometimes it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
And guess who has the horn? The person. And so if you apply the horn and the dog see that you take sides because you have to choose which dog you're going to help, you're going to make this thing a long-term issue. Yes, you can use water, you can use horn, but that is an emergency. Nobody knows what's the right thing to do right at that moment. I don't have an air horn. I don't have a shaker can. I train to not need one.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the key. Now, if something happens with the dogs, it happened to me, I'm going after the leash. So I'm not going anywhere outside without having a leash. How many dogs do I have? 2? I have 2 leashes handy, no matter where I go. All my houses, even the car has a leash because it keeps my hands safe. I can grab the leash, put it through the loop. The dog will not be able to get out of there. I take that, open the door, close the door, and it's in between. That doesn't go anywhere. So I can walk away from the leash until the dog chews the leash off. I can put myself in safety, or the other dog. Take the dog, throw him outside, close the door. At least you have anyone safe.
And if you're suspicious of, whoa, those 2 dogs aren't acting right, there's nothing wrong with you clicking a leash on them then and let them drag it around. That still gives you something to pick up.
Yeah.
And there's also a slim possibility, or any kind of possibility, well, they may not do
pull
it when you have the leash on.
You have to lift, no pulling.
You have to lift.
You have to lift until the dog turns around and tries to bite the leash off, and that's where you walk away. Because if you pull, you're going to do more damage to the dog because the other dog will hold even harder.
That's right. When a dog pulls, it's one thing. When you pull the dog, that's another. Okay.
And you have to pull the dog who is actually holding the other dog in his mouth.
Yep.
Okay, not the other way around. So you need to know what's happening there. And literally things happen in slow motion. So take a deep breath, observe what's happening, then you make a move, and then you're good.
Yes. And if you don't get it right the first time, go back and do the other dog. Don't be afraid.
Yes, you can use water.
Yeah.
Okay, water works magic many times. But you need to know how to throw the water. I have seen people using extinguisher. I used one in the past. Okay, I was in a shelter and 3 dogs went loose and kind of ran in public, in a closed environment in public. I used an extinguisher. No dog see what's going on. Extinguisher is not toxic. You don't do any damage to the dog. It's just powder. And we got things under control.
You did what you had to do in an emergency. People could have been in danger. Dogs could have been in danger.
Oh, there was 3 loose cannons in the shelter.
Yeah. Oops. Right. So back to this. So then if we have 2 dogs, that's what, okay. Let's go with, we have 2 female dogs, guardian breeds. It doesn't have to be 2 Pyrs. It can be a Pyr Maremma, a Pyr Akbal, Shockbox, whatever, Anatolian. We have 2 female dogs that are starting to have a problem. What would you suggest to our viewers?
Call Steve. Steve, I have a problem. What's the problem? I'm not sure yet. It's coming up. Steve, good. Thanks for calling me. Don't try to fix it. Don't try things. I think trying is the worst thing you can do. If you don't know how to do that, if you don't know the outcome of what you try to do, don't start because it can get worse. I hear people saying, oh, I tried everything. Like, which one did you start with? Oh, I did all positive training. Well, if you did positive training, then you wouldn't have a problem. So obviously you didn't do positive training. And I know people are finally like, yeah, I know you work all these aggressive dogs and you, of course you don't do positive training. How would you think lions get their tails through the slot to get injections without killing anyone? Positive reinforcement. They're not yelling at the dog. They're not punishing the lion. They're just having relaxed. The lion puts his tail out. He gets conditioned. He gets an injection in his tail. He's up and running. He's healthy. Actually, they draw blood to be more precise. I just shared a video a couple of hours ago on that. So water is
Nancy,
okay.
they have a kennel. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So water is okay. Sound and noise is okay. You are in the kitchen. I'm not a sexist. Whoever's in the kitchen, grab some pans and start smashing them. Dogs get scared. Sometimes they just run away. But what do you do next? If they're out right and left, how do you contain them? So everything has a risk. I think the leash is the most controllable in the outcome of what you can do without putting your hands in danger. The only thing you have to do is you have to exercise yourself. How do you throw the leash under the dog and how you grab it from the other side?
Mm-hmm. Now Linda's 4'2" and her dog is 6'4". All right. How's she going to do something like that?
Well, very simple. You don't have to lift the dog. Just the dog having the tension on his belly is going to help him. His body reacts automatically. The dog doesn't even think about it.
And there's a good possibility if you get him out of that zone,
right?
It could be just simply personal space zone, or it could be both personal space. It's going to stop. All right.
My personal
possibility.
I trust people who are in the field for generations, like in Russia, in Turkey, in Greece, who do this all day long for generations and generations. I was lucky to live with one, close proximity, and be with them. They just are different species. These people are one in nature, but they understand. So if you want to learn about guardian breeds, you have to go with this guy in the winter, on the summer tour. That's what you see everything. What they do, how they teach them, how to feed them, how to interact with them. They're just family.
Yeah, they're partners.
Yeah.
And as part of what I do sometimes is I teach that there's also a partnership that has to be formed.
Yeah.
So.
And I've seen interactions where two herds meet each other because they're on the same mountain at some point, and we can see how the guardian breeds from two different flocks interact with each other. They're very tense, but they're not getting in fights because they know, hey, are you doing the same thing I do? Okay, I don't want to get hurt, so just, keep it cool, right?
Teamwork.
Yeah, it's teamwork, even if they're opponents. That's interesting to see. So they're like wolves versus dogs.
And they're known to work in pairs, even overseas. But doesn't mean they all work in pairs, because every once in a while, you'll have a spat, but they're dogs. Okay.
Well, dogs build dyads, and we have to see, especially if we say about, disputes, is because those dyads are imbalanced. Yeah. I've seen dogs, for example, who's being a jerk to the other dog because they're always a follower, and the other one doesn't want to have a follower. Right. Leave me alone. Oh, I want to lick your face. Leave me alone. Oh, no, I love you. Lick my face. And the dog is like, bark you.
Yeah. I have a dog in Montana I worked with that wasn't getting along. It wasn't another Pyrenees, and this one was an Akbash Pyr mix, and they weren't getting along, but they were both working breeds. And I reintroduced. There's no textbook technique here. Okay.
No.
All right. So you have a lot of tools in your toolbox. All right. And I'm not saying me and Roman have more than you do, because, you're going to know you better know your dogs better than we do. Okay. So what we did was with these two, we reintroduced them to teamwork, and guess what? It worked, and it has been effective in the past, but it's not 100% of the time. Okay. There is no textbook technique.
Yeah. I think it's similar with people working in the working place. You don't have to be besties with your colleague. You can hang out for a beer or something, but that's it. You don't have to go to bed with this person, and you don't have to live together in the same house. But when it comes to work, then everybody does his job as long as everybody knows where the boundaries are of that job.
Yep. All right. So, and this one here is a Kuvas. All right. They're a little bit different with the thought process of how they do things. And they're a little hyper. Seems like they think the threat's always there, so they're always looking for it. Okay. And
I think the Kuvats are more a little bit more hunting in mind.
Yeah.
And a little bit more searching in
little.
mind.
But she was also had a rough start in life. Okay.
Yeah.
But she likes her birds and her trees, doesn't she? If we ever get a guardian into a tree, I believe it's going to be her. We'll get pictures, we promise, okay? Before we fetch her down. It's not just because it's the breed. I don't think it could be some of the breed people say it's because of the breed, but I'm not convinced of that because they also told me to give her some supplements, not necessarily drugs. And I don't like doing that. Okay. Okay. What did we just say? There we go. All right. And that's a male and a female, just so you know. That's Tibbs and that's Sasha. That's male and a female. We have a Pyrs Akbash, that's a humongous boy, and we have a Kuvas, that's a itty bitty little ball of dynamite. So what just happened there? Well, I know exactly. Well, I got a good idea what happened because I saw it. I witnessed it, kind of. I watched the rerun to make sure. Roman witnessed it. But her space was invaded. Here's the problem. The space was the entire couch because she was up there. Okay? That's where the space was invaded. Okay?
It's actually a very good space to get in fight with your siblings.
That's right.
Everybody wants to share the ssame safe space.
Yeah, but that whole couch became her space instead of her standard personal space. That's my take on what just took place. And every once in a while, I get lucky at this, okay? And there's Mr. Tibbs. He is the reason I came up here. And he's mixed. He's also, 9 years old. Oh. And she kind of saved him from certain death. And this is a big freaking dog now.
You've got him. I'll just step
I got him? Okay. and they were getting in spats between him and the 9-year-old Newfoundland. So, but you see, they really weren't. They were communicating, and there's a possibility that the human was interfering. And then we had some unfinished business. We're working on that. I'm pretty sure it's what it is. We're going to find out because they're master communicators. They give themselves way more signals to communicate than they give to us. Okay. And so we have to be aware of that. Sometimes we create the problem. All right. Well, sometimes, a lot of times we do. Because what he's thinking and what you think he's thinking is two different things. And sometimes we just have to fix that because you're not able to communicate right. And that's why he's thinking something different than you think he is. So now that was a lot of thought there, wasn't it? That hurt. What do you think, Roman?
I have to agree.
Yeah, but I do believe that's what the trigger was. I mean, what happened there is Sasha was on the couch. He came in and invaded her space, which was the entire couch. All right, I see it a lot. And I mean, you don't want your dog on the couch. That's up to you. You want your dog on the couch. That's up to you. We can work with this. Okay. But this is what can happen, especially with a new dog, man. I would highly suggest the new dog to the home. Boy, he comes in, he makes a beeline to that couch, and it's a guardian breed. He just went to a safe place that's elevated so he can keep an eye on everything. And then mom, dad, or new mom, dad, or foster mom, dad, whoever it is, come in and say, hey, get off my couch.
By
That's
the
when
collar.
everybody's hands get bit.
By the collar, right?
Back by the collar.
And
That's
have
the
the
most
kids do
protected
it because
part
the
of their
kids get better
body.
grabbing dogs by the collar.
Send the kids in; they'll do it.
Yeah, yeah.
One of the areas I feel that he could be the an Akbash mix. His neck is bigger than his head, and that's typical.
Oh, he's a greyhound.
No, yeah, he's a greyhound. Yeah, but I tell you what, he's a real he's doing a good job of running this household.
Yeah, he does.
He does. And because she didn't realize that she was actually rewarding the behavior that she didn't want him to do. Okay. And we want to be aware of that. Don't reward the bad behavior inadvertently, because now, okay, a scenario that Roman used one time, when the mailman comes to the house and the dog is barking at the window and the mailman puts the mail in and the mailman walks away, here's what the dog sees.
Dogs
The
win.
threat came and the dog chased him away, and that was his reward. He did his job. He had no idea that mailman was leaving no matter what. Okay. And we had a situation with him that when the motorcycle goes by, he goes ballistic, and then it leaves and he stops. That's because he chased it away. Okay. That, and it hurt his ears. So, but anyway, he's a good boy, and it's a lot of misunderstanding going on nowadays, isn't there? We don't know what our dogs are trying to tell us sometimes. I have a problem having understanding what my wife's trying to tell me, but I do okay with them. I get lucky sometimes. So, wow, what a show. And guess what the answer is same-sex aggression is it real or is it a label? It's both. It depends on the situation. Do you agree with that?
Well, it's real, but not exactly as we think it is.
It's deceiving.
Right. A male will get in fights if a female is in heat.
Absolutely. If the
Males
male's not
get in fight
neutered. Yeah.
if they fight about the mom that is
Now, let me ask you this.
babying one.
If the male is neutered, why does the female in heat still get all We're not neutering his brain. Okay.
Hormones are
We are.
interesting. They do all these funny things.
They come from different parts of the body at times, too, is what I read that. Where did I read that? That was one of your.
I'm not a gynecologist again, but I know from an incident where a woman who didn't have a child lactated because her mother was feeding a baby.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I've read that, and it was like I've heard it on the news and stuff.
Yeah,
it seems to be a real thing, and
yeah,
those
it
doctors
is
out
a real
there.
thing. So if you have
probably
multiple
know
women
about
in the
it too.
same house, they were going through the same cycle, which means if you have multiple females in the household, including the dogs, they start getting in tune with it.
Yeah.
And then you have all the girls being miserable at the same time. No, I mean the dogs, sorry.
Right.
No,
And I just want to close with, I have two females here and they're not fighting. Why is that?
because they have Pyrenees, that's why.
No, they're humans. That's what I was worried about. Why aren't they fighting? Wow. Linda, you have anything that you would like to close with?
No, I'm just really glad we did this segment because I know Roman and I talk about it, and it was very, very informative. That's for sure. And I hope we answered a lot of people's questions because it seems to be really,
tag
really
me
good.
so I can follow through with it. If there's
What's
any
that?
questions, Steve.
What's that?
If you want me to chime in any questions, tag me on it.
Oh, well, shoot. Sorry about that.
No, I don't, if you see something that
I will.
do co-parenting on that post or something on that comment.
Well, what we did tonight, everybody, was Roman and I are two different people, and we kind of do the same thing, but we don't do it alike because we're two different people, and we see things sometimes differently, and sometimes exactly the same. And so there's more than one way to do this. Okay. So, and Linda, she's no slouch either. She's been paying attention after all. Okay. She's been listening close. And if she offers a piece of advice, you might want to pay attention. If anybody offers a piece of advice, weigh it out with your own situation. Okay. The key to that is your own situation. So me and Roman and I, we have to profile your dog. We got to know, we have to get an idea of what the dog is doing, and we have to get an idea of what you are capable of doing. Okay.
Well, the magic is exactly as you said, we're profiling. So when I do a profiling on the dog, just like you do, I need to predict the dog's next move.
Yes.
And if I cannot predict the dog's next move, then I don't know his behavior, then I don't know how he thinks.
But at the same time, I don't know about Rome, and sometimes I think I'm wrong about this, but we don't walk on water. But I've seen him do some amazing stuff in the past. He said that about me one time too, and I told him that wasn't me. He said, "Oh, okay,
yeah,
all right."
We're successful February 29th, 30th. That's my success.
Yeah,
usually, yeah.
Yeah.
Miracles
Can we fix every dog? Well, I don't know, because we're not fixing anything. We don't fix stuff. All right. Mechanics fix things. So we evaluate the situation at hand, and we see what needs to be healed. Okay.
Every dog is worth the effort.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I agree with that.
With
That's
what
why I'm doing that
Lori's,
with him.
yeah, this dog has really raised her stress level, for about 10 phone calls in a row. The first thing you would say to me is, "I'm at my wit's end." And I said, "Well, why'd you wait so long?" But anyway, he's been a handful, but yet he's still here. All right. And she's not giving up on him, because if she was, she would have by now. When did you get him?
A year ago for Thanksgiving.
That's how long he's been doing this. Now, you reached out to me, what, couple months ago?
Yeah.
But it's been kind of hit skip. I've been a little bit busy, but I've been trying to, every time you call, we do something.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
And then I got to the point to where this is where Roman is more effective than I am. Every once in a while, I can't do this through a monitor. I had to come here. Okay. Something wasn't happening right. And I couldn't figure it out. And so here I am. We do what we have to do to keep the dogs in their home. Okay. And we had donors involved. I mean, I didn't just get my Social Security check and just drive up here. We had donors that also stepped up. So how cool is that? And here we are. And then I'll be here, get back again tomorrow, and with a plan that we're gonna give this. I think I've got something that is going to take care of this, because I don't think there's anything wrong with the dog. All right.
Well, I have a link to my website about Littermate Syndrome, and I do have a lot of references. So I'm gonna send it to your Steve, to your messenger, and you can post it if you want.
Okay. Now I'm going to post it after the show, because it won't post to the groups that we're streaming to.
Yeah, I know.
All right. So, and everybody, we stream to 6 destinations simultaneously. We stream to the for some reason, the Great Pyrenees Rescue of Missouri. It's all about the dogs. That is the main Facebook page for the rescue. That's linked with the website. And then Linda has a group called Great Pyrenees Rescue of Missouri. All right. So we stream there. And then there's a pretty cool group called Great Pyrenees Rescue and Advice Rebooted. Roman is the training expert in there, and he does a good job. A lot of people know him. Nobody listens to him, but they still know him. Because if they listened to him, they wouldn't be repeat.
They know me from the force-free posts, and everybody laughs about it.
Yeah, but you see, here's the problem. You know what is very, very hard to do is try to work with a dog from behind a keyboard. Okay. how can you get a profile when you don't get to meet the dog? At least virtually, we get to see the body language. We can learn more about a dog just on everyday video that we get than we ever could when he's in an altercation, say, for example, because we can see what's maybe leading up to it. All right. What's stressing the dog or what's not. But anyway, so, but that's Great Pyrenees, and Linda's moderator there for a long time, haven't you, Linda?
Yeah, a couple years now. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I didn't that wasn't that a driving factor of you forming this rescue?
Yes.
So that's a good one. Then the Pyrs Rescue and Sanctuary officially in Colorado, in Peyton, Colorado. And that's Judy and Nancy. She's a volunteer there. And where else? Oh, Ode to Odin. We can't forget the Ode to Odin and Buddy and Snowflake. Okay. We played that rerun last week, I think it was, because actually it was requested. I says, well, it's posted there. Yeah, but it's not the same. Okay, well, and we were a busy rescue week. Linda opened up telling us that. And so we gave you guys a rerun, just like, well, most television shows. And they get high ratings, so hopefully we will. And but Buddy and Odin, I tell you what, I don't know about you guys, but that captivated me. We were talking with the people that was there at the place while that had happened, and it's not rebuilt yet. And that was just, to me, it was just amazing that we had that opportunity. So, and they're actually now second on my bucket list. I really want to go out and see the Healing Center. All right. But that's kind of first. But anyway,
Okay.
So we're done. That's
We're
it.
done.
Next week, well, let's think about it, and we'll let you know.
All right.
Thanks, Roman. Thanks.
Thanks, Roman.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. I think we did. I think we covered it the best we could. Okay, and hopefully we raised questions that didn't get answered, and so they reach out. The key to this is reach out for help if you don't have it. So, all right, everybody, next week.
Right.
And if there's next week, same time, 9 p.m., 8 p.m., 7 p.m. in Roman's time. Okay. That's it.
You.
Bye, everybody. Oh, you guys are still here. So bye, everybody.